How would Spawn work in Marvel Rivals? Yo, my name is Gojibu, I am a tank player, been doing these Marvel Rival pitches, and I've gotten a request to go ahead and knock out Spawn as my next crossover character. So, as far as how this could work, Spawn has crossed over with other comic properties before. I don't think he's done a Marvel crossover, but I know he has crossed over with DC multiple times. So again, this is all purely theoretical. I think he'd be a really cool inclusion though. I think he could absolutely fit. But either way, getting into it, I went ahead and made him a 300 HP duelist. I feel like duelist is probably the best role to put this guy in, but there's absolutely a world where he can fit as a Vanguard or maybe even a strategist. Strategist I don't know about. I think Vanguard would probably be his next best bet. But either way, he does have a pretty stacked kit, so getting right into it, for his jumping and mobility, he can double jump and he can freely glide after use. So sort of like Moon Knight's glide, but I wouldn't really give this one a cooldown or anything along those lines. I'd kind of make it so that he can, since he doesn't have a ton of mobility, use that glide for a good while whenever he does want to. Along with his double jump, I think I probably wouldn't give that a cooldown. I'd probably just let that, let it just rock the entire time. Again, he doesn't have a ton of mobility. He's more focused on damage. I feel like that would be pretty fair. Then for his primary fire, he has one called Firing Cycle. Spawn utilizes one of 4 unique firearms he brought with him. Each weapon needs to be reloaded individually or will automatically reload after 10 seconds. So for his 4 weapons, he has Hand Cannon, which is a slow-firing, heavy-damaging 6-shot revolver. He has an Ecto Rifle, which is a fast-shooting, heavy ammo capacity, medium-range assault rifle. Then he has the 4th Ring Rifle, which is a single-shot, massive damaging infantry rifle or a sniper rifle. And then he has Agony, which is his axe from Soul Calibur. It's a melee-range battle axe that provides medium damage, but does not need to be reloaded and provides lifesteal on attack. As far as the exact amount of lifesteal, I didn't work that out, but either way, he would be able to swap between all 4 of these with his alternate fire called Weapon Swap. Spawn is able to freely swap between his 4 weapons, taking the most time to pull out Agony. So I kind of tied those 2 together. I didn't give a lot of these an ammo count except for, 4th Ring Rifle. That one is a single shot. Hand Cannon is a 6-shot. Ecto Rifle, I don't know what would be good for that. An Assault Rifle, I don't know exactly how to balance an Assault Rifle in the game. I feel like maybe giving it a 30 ammo count or something along those lines would be good. Again, it doesn't do a ton of damage, but it would be shooting very fast. I feel like, if anything, the Ecto Rifle would have hit scan along with the Hand Cannon. Actually, I think all of these might be hit scan now that I'm looking at them. I think hit scan would probably be the best way to go about it, unless they want to give the rifle a little bit of travel distance, but I think that might be doing a little bit too much. And then again, for his weapon swap, that doesn't have a cooldown, if you guys did notice, so he would be able to freely swap between these. Again, the only cooldown he really has to wait for is the actual animation of pulling the weapon out. And as I said, Agony is going to take the longest to pull out, since that does give the added benefit of lifesteal too. For his ability 1, I gave him Sinful Vice on a 12-second cooldown. Spawn throws out his chains, latching onto a single enemy, and can perform one of 2 actions. If no action is performed for 4 seconds, the chain returns to Spawn with no effect. Pressing the ability 1 key again pulls the enemy towards Spawn and deals 30 damage. Moving a set distance away from the target rips the chain from them, providing an 0.5 second stun and dealing 50 damage instead. So this skill you can utilize in a couple different ways. You can either use this to pull people towards you if you have the Agony Axe out, if you want to try to get a good shot with, the 4th Ring Rifle or whatever the case is, pull people in, get a lot closer, a lot more personal with them. Or if you do want to try to disable a stun, throw the chain on somebody while they're ulting, quickly try to double jump backwards, maybe get some distance for them, use your glide, and then get that stun right there. There is a downside to it, since of course if you get somebody pulled closer, you don't get the stun. You break the distance from them, you do get the stun, but you are further away, so that would be reliant on you aiming a little bit better, and I don't think you'd be able to shoot while he glides, so you pretty much would be caught either having to stun them, having to commit to the stun, or having to pull them in, and I feel like that's a pretty good double-edged sword. Then for his ability 2, I gave him Inner Ring on a 20-second cooldown with 3 charges. Spawn places up to 3 small circles of necroplastic energy. Enemies standing in the circle will be slowed and have their damage reduced. Allies standing in or above the circle will receive a damage buff. So I don't know how to pronounce it. I know he's made of necroplasm. I don't know if it'd be pronounced necroplastic energy or necroplasm-based energy, but either way, not going to worry too much about the pronunciation there. But this would be a fun little ability to use, again, just as something to help him with some CC. He doesn't have a ton of crowd control. I wanted to give him something else to utilize, and I feel like giving him some additional mobility might make him a little bit too strong. I do want to make him focused on fighting from a distance, medium to long range, and of course only getting up close with Agony if he really wants to. Inner Ring could definitely be used to slow enemies if you're trying to get them with Agony. I don't think the animation would be too long. I did give it a handicap by making it a little bit longer of a cooldown, but again, if you don't just spam these, you should totally be fine. Then for his ultimate, I gave him Hellspawn's Trust. Malboja reaches up and brings Spawn off the map for a chat. Spawn returns enraged with several buffs to his existing attacks for 10 seconds. Spawn gains 20% damage resistance, but takes 50% less healing from other sources besides his own. All outgoing damage provides additional 30% lifesteal with each attack. Spawn does not need to reload any weapons he is utilizing. Sinful Vice can target up to 3 enemies, changing from a single target attack to a medium AoE skill. An inner ring changes to Dimensional Lance, a powerful thrown projectile that slows enemies within a medium AoE after landing, and it would have a 5-second cooldown. So this would just be a huge buff to Spawn. This is just absolutely your time to go insane once you get your ultimate. I feel like this would have a medium cooldown. He does get that damage resistance, but again, he isn't going to be getting a ton of healing unless he is getting in people's faces, is doing a ton of lifesteal. Again, he is 300 HP, so he can definitely brawl if he needs to, but again, it's not going to be your preferred way of fighting. You are going to want to fight from a distance. Again, if you do want to get up close to Agony, use, your Dimensional Lance that you have now. You can definitely become an up-close brawler if you want to while this ultimate is out. I mean, honestly, it does allow for player expression, and with the lifesteal that it gets, you are really incentivized to kind of go off on your own, or maybe, when you find a good opening, or when your team's charging in for a fight, kind of just become this huge force of DPS in the middle of the battlefield. And you can be focused down, absolutely, since you can't get as much support from your healers, but again, you have the lifesteal. It can definitely help you out if you play your cards right, and especially since he doesn't have a ton of mobility, you do want to be smart with when you pop this. Then for his team-ups, I couldn't decide between one or the other, so I ended up giving him both. I gave him one with Hella called New Management, and it's a passive. Spawn can utilize Hella's primary fire in his firing cycle. So this would just allow him to also get Hella's primary fire, which again is really strong, but I feel like that would be really cool to see and would fit with his character. I feel like he'd really get along with Hella. I mean, again, he's going to be working with Hella instead of Malboja. I think he prefers a lot over Malboja, but either way. Then for his team up with Magic, I gave him one called Test Drive on a 60-second cooldown. Magic borrows Agony, dual wielding it alongside her blade for up to 6 seconds. Magic's damage is doubled during this duration. So this would absolutely turn Magic into an insane DPS. Again, she's going to have her sword, she's going to have the axe in hand, her damage is doubled. She's already such a brawly tank. It would be really cool to kind of have her go in with Agony. And I don't know if this would remove it from Spawn. I'm pretty sure he'd just make a copy or something. But if it does remove it from Spawn, this could absolutely work for her just tearing through the backline. Spawn just kind of tearing from a medium range or maybe sniping. Or if it doesn't take Agony from him, they could both go in and they just wreck shop, dude. It'd be so cool to see. As for his alternate costumes, I feel like the MK11 look for him was a really good look. I feel like it kind of utilizes the best of everything. It utilizes the best of his comic book looks. It has that weird slimy texture that the movie Spawn had. I feel like there's just a really cool way to take his character, and I really like that outfit. I feel like that would be good as the default, but as for some alternate costumes, I have Nightmare Spawn, really good looking outfit. I found a lot of these as figures while doing research for this video, and these are just some really tight looks. Excited to share these with you guys. So I got Medieval Spawn also. I have Raven, which I'd never heard of. That one looks really sick. I'd love this. I'd absolutely buy that. Of course, I can't not include Gunslinger Spawn. I feel like that's a mainstay. A lot of people, when they think of alternate Spawn costumes, that's usually where they first go. And then I finally have his Angel form, which I know he loses the chains in normally when he takes the form, but I feel like for the sake of, just coolness factor and being able to even play Spawn with the Angel wings, that'd be really cool. People would be willing to forgive that. They'd be willing to suspend their disbelief. I really don't think they'd have a problem with it. But on top of that, they could also do movie Spawn. I know that it's not that different from, the MK11 Spawn, the normal classic Spawn, but I do really like how it looks. I like the texture, and I feel like with Marvel Rivals and their art style, they could really do something cool with it. And then lastly, for my final thoughts, again, I'm going to put these up on screen, but he has a ton of strengths. He could do some amazing damage, especially if you know how to position yourself. Since he doesn't have a lot of mobility, and again, that is kind of his main weakness, that's the main thing I wanted to have him focus on. Can he be very mobile in the comics? Absolutely. Can he use his cape and his suit to kind of just go wherever the heck he wants, vanish, go through stuff? Yeah, absolutely. But I feel like, again, from a gameplay perspective, make him fun to play, make him absolutely have that arsenal, but, don't make him this crazy moving around, dodging, weaving, duelist that's crazy to kill. Instead, I feel like just making him a walking armory would be so much of a better angle, allow for so much more character expression with Spawn. Especially since you can select from 4 different primary fires. That hasn't been included in Rivals from what I've seen, and I haven't seen it included a lot in other games, but my experience with hero shooters is kind of limited to a couple of games that I've played before. But either way, he could just stay in the backline if he wants to, so if you play sniper better, you could swap to, your 4th ring rifle. If you are pretty good at aiming and consistently landing headshots, you could rock the hand cannon or the ecto rifle. And then again, if you really don't want to try the whole long range thing, if your supports are getting shredded or if somebody jumps on you, you swap to Agony, that's when you can get the lifesteal back. Again, he's just kind of a jack of all trades, but he's not really a master of anything in particular. Since he does have a little bit of area denial, he does have a little bit of, melee damage he can do, he does have a little bit of long range stuff he can do. He is really good and he could do a lot of damage, but again, I feel like just because character expression is so dominant with this guy is pivotal to the kit I made for him. I feel like if Spawn did get in like this, it would be very hit or miss trying to figure out what kind of Spawn you're going to play with. And also it would make him annoying to play against. But again, I feel like that's part of the strength of Rivals. I feel like they put these characters in and they absolutely feel like they should in games. Spidey is super annoying to fight. I hate whenever I see him diving the back line. Venom is terrifying once he gets back there. Again, he kind of stalks, looks around, yet it dives in, goes crazy. Again, I feel like it's really cool and it plays to the strength of Rivals. That's part of the reason I want to do these crossovers, because yeah, it's fun to do the power fantasy. It's fun to play a hero in a game where, you're fighting NPCs, but in my opinion, it's even more fun to have these heroes in games where you're playing against other people and you get to utilize their skills, their powers, and kind of get that feeling of what that character should do. But either way, this is going to be part of an ongoing series I'm going to be doing on my channel called What If Wednesdays. I'm probably going to be doing 2 videos a week from here on out. I have a longer Invincible one I'm working on. It took longer to finish than I thought it would. But Spawn is kind of one from the Imageverse I'm throwing in. Next week, I'm going to start DC and then kind of throw in Capcom from here and there also. Like I said, I'm going to try to get it up to 2 a week. But either way, if you guys like this, if you guys got any ideas, by all means, feel free to pitch it to me in the comments. But otherwise, peace.